to go live. What is up, guys? My name is Quincy Carrier. This is Quincy Carrier's pre-post, what you want to call it, game show. And this week I'm going to do something special since it is a special game against the league's best team. I brought in a fan from the other team. Tell them who you are.
Hey, this is Good Game Reviews. I'm just normally cover Patriots stuff, game reviews. I do a few reactions, and from time to time I do a little rant. So that's pretty much it on my end.
Very good, very good. So I brought him in so we could talk about this matchup, get you guys ready to go for 4:15 on CBS, number one announced team. I'm pretty sure you as a Patriots fan used to that, used to hearing Nance and Tony Romo now. So big game environment. I know you guys are rocking out the color rush, but nationally, I think the idea has been that this is going to be a massive mismatch for the Cleveland Browns, that this is going to be a blowout. I think it's not as big as a mismatch as people think, but let me know, what do you think of the matchup? Do you think this is the mismatch that everybody thinks it is, or do you think that there's more to this game than just that?
I think that there's more to this game. Obviously, the Patriots have, troubles on the O-line, and having to go against somebody like Garrett, I'm pretty sure the Bill's going to, game plan for that. But having to go against that D-line, man, I mean, you can't really count it out. Brady's had to get rid of the ball like under 2 seconds. So, I mean, you always have to worry about that defensive line. Only thing I would say is I wouldn't expect a blowout, because, obviously the Cleveland Browns have a lot of offensive talent, so they'll pretty much be able to keep up with the Patriots. Only thing I'm concerned about is the secondary for the Browns, being that they haven't really been able to grab a lot of interceptions this year. So, I mean, if there is chance for a blowout, it'll probably come from them not being able to make the Patriots turn over the ball that way. So that would be the only way I would see like a scenario in terms of like a blowout. And like going on the other side of the ball, Baker having thrown like 11 interceptions. I mean, coming into a game, against a team that's has the record. I mean, well, not the record, but has the most interceptions. It could be a recipe for disaster. But I mean, who's to say?
Yeah, I think it'll be important for the Browns to kind of understand that if Baker's been having a trouble keeping the ball from being turned over, maybe keep the ball out of his hands a little bit more than you would normally do, just to avoid that kind of pressure. But you mentioned the defensive line, and I've looked back a little bit at some of Tom Brady's history, some of the Patriots' history, and it seems like teams with athletic defensive lines seem to have the most success against the Patriots. And one of the things I think gets missed when people talk about the matchup, because the big numbers, the gaudy numbers, are the sacks for the Patriots defense and the interceptions. And when you look at that against the Browns offense that has given up too many sacks, has thrown too many interceptions, the easy math there is to go, oh, this is going to be a blowout. But one of the things I think is interesting is that you mentioned the Browns have Myles Garrett. They have Olivier Vernon, who has not performed to his level. They have Sheldon Richardson, who's not performed to a level. Larry Ogunjobi, who's played fine, but still can play better. So a strong front four against the Patriots offensive line that has struggled a little bit. And that can give Brady problems. We're getting back our two starting corners, including Pro Bowler Denzel Ward this week. So that might help the Browns get more turnovers in that area of the field. I think, realistically, if the Browns are able to play solid on that defensive line, slow down the pass game, make them kind of rely or take the running game out of it and kind of slow down that offense, I think on the other side of the ball, then it becomes a different game. You can get Nick Chubb involved more. And I think if you can run the ball against the Patriots and you can get offense that way, that completely changes the game. And I think the one game against Buffalo this year, that's really what Buffalo tried to do, and they had the best success so far of anybody against Patriots.
Right. Just looking at the last game against the Jets, Le'Veon Bell, even though he didn't really have one of the best games of this season, in terms of what he's done with the Jets, he was looking pretty good. Like anytime they got the ball into his hands, he was trying to make plays. So I mean, look at the one rushing touchdown that the Patriots allowed. Like, even though they've only allowed one, it was a pretty big one. It was like over 60 yards. So if that's one way that the Patriots could, be hit, it could be through the running game. And Chubb is definitely the guy to do it.
Yeah. Chubb has been playing very well. Some people think he's not been getting enough carries. I think this week, I think he's going to get his fair share of carries because I think if Freddie Kitchens goes into this game plan thinking he's going to out-cute the Patriots or outsmart the Patriots by throwing the ball with Baker Mayfield, then that tells us what we need to know about Freddie, because that's nobody ever wins trying to out-cute or outsmart Bill Belichick. That is not a recipe for success. You got to keep it simple against him. Now, there's some key matchups that I also have that I think are going to be very interesting for the Browns and Patriots game. We talked about the defensive line versus the offensive line. We talked about this running game versus the immovable offense. But the Patriots added a wide receiver who is, I think, going to play. I've heard reports that he is going to play, Mohamed Sanu.
Yeah.
What do you think Mohamed Sanu adds to this offense long term? And also, what do you think he's going to be able to add for them for this game?
Pretty much long term, I look at depth. They have injuries. I mean, they've had injuries throughout the year. Edelman's still, dealing with some rib injuries, but he just seemed to be playing through them. He hasn't really missed a game. Philip Dorsett, he came back from the hamstring. He looked pretty good in that Jets game. As you know, Josh Gordon, he's been placed on IR. He's pretty much going to get waived probably in a week or two. So really, I just look at it as long term. I look at it as depth, and the fact that we have N'Keal Harry coming back in week 9. I'm liking what the wide receiver room is going to be looking like. In terms of this game, though, I don't really think he's going to be like an immediate factor in this game. Like they had Antonio Brown come into the week 2 matchup. They only got him like 5 passes in there, and then for the rest of the game, he was pretty much quiet. Mm-hmm. That Patriots playbook is very, very big. So wide receivers, rarely can just come in and just automatically click. So they're going to have to probably just give them a few plays, get them in tune with Brady and stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much how I see that game going. I don't really see a lot of production out of Sanu.
Sorry, my cat's walking all over the stream right now. I think the most interesting thing with Sanu is he used to play quarterback, I think, at Rutgers. And that is like the quintessential kind of guy for a Bill Belichick offense, that kind of smart wide receiver. Because I know the Bill Belichick offense, why it's so successful with that combination of him and Brady is because it's really reliant on a lot of choice routes. And when you have smart players in there, preferably who played quarterback before, like a Julian Edelman, they understand coverages at a different level than a regular wide receiver would. So they would probably be on the same page and see the same things that Brady's seeing back there and make those same choices. That's what makes them unstoppable, is that they're game planning in the middle of the play pretty much with those choice routes. And I think Sanu, since he played quarterback at Rutgers, he's a guy who could diagnose defenses as a wide receiver like that. That's going to be a huge thing once he gets acclimated to the Patriot system and into the Patriot way. I think he's going to be a huge addition for that team on a potential Super Bowl run for them. So that is going to be interesting. Now we're going to move on to a different part. We kind of talked about the biggest weaknesses for the Cleveland Browns and the biggest problem they're going to face. But what do you think is the biggest problem that the Patriots are going to face this week in this matchup?
I would say getting the run game started. It hasn't been easy throughout the season. Sony Michel, his best game was over 90 yards. He still hasn't broken 100, just in terms of rushing yards. So, if anything, it would have to be the rushing game. That would be like the most concerning part to me. Other than that, stopping the run, like I said, Chubb. If there's a guy who has the potential to run over the Patriots defense, it could be Chubb. So stopping the run and getting the run started, those are the things I'll be looking at when the game starts.
Mm-hmm. And my thing is, I think the Browns' biggest weakness, I think the thing that has killed them all year is turnovers and penalties. This is a team that shot themselves in the foot. They've lost. They're 2-4, but I think they've cost themselves 2 of those games at the very least, if not 3, if you've watched them, because they'll get penalties at the wrong time. Baker's throwing interceptions in the red zone, costly fumbles, just mistakes you can't afford to make. And this is why I say to Browns fans that watch my channel is that, hey, the Browns do have a clear path to victory here. They can win this game. This is not an impossible feat for them to do. But the landing strip is about this wide. There's not a lot of margin of error for them. There's not going to be I don't think they have room for turnovers. I don't think they have room for mistakes. I don't think you can get too many penalties. And I don't think you can let the Patriots get up more than 14 and think you're going to win this game in Foxborough. So the Browns definitely have a lot of weaknesses there. But I did a video actually yesterday when this goes up about Tom Brady. And a lot of talk has been going into, will he stay in New England? Will he go? What's it talking about his house? Also, he's like, 42 years old?
Yeah, that's correct.
And people are wondering, we know Tom Brady's good, but like, how good is Tom Brady? And you as a Patriots fan who's watched him for a while, how good do you think Tom Brady is playing compared to a scale of Tom Brady? So it's a scale of excellence, but, where on that scale do you think Tom Brady's sitting?
Right. Obviously, he's made some mistakes. He has 4 interceptions already on the season. I wouldn't say that he hasn't played up to his stand. I know he wouldn't say that he's played up to his standards, but I wouldn't say that he hasn't played like down. Like, I would say the only thing that will go against him would be the O-line troubles. When you have like O-line troubles, it's hard for your quarterback to be able to stand in the pocket and make plays. He's not going to go out. He's not going to go out and run around like other quarterbacks, like Mahomes or nothing. He's going to have to stand in that pocket. And if his blind side is breaking down, then he's not going to have time, and he's going to take costly sacks. He's going to be rushing. He's going to make bad throws. He's going to throw interceptions. And then if you don't have like your main targets out there, sometimes you're forced to throw to rookies. I mean, yeah. So I wouldn't say that he's played. If you look at the numbers, he's not up to the Tom Brady standard, especially going into week 8. But I mean, personally, like looking at the games game by game, I wouldn't really see. I wouldn't say I haven't seen like a drop off or nothing.
Interesting. I did like a research of all Tom Brady's stats, right? And I did them through 7 games so far. And I found his floor, 2003, that season was his floor. He didn't have that great of a start to it. Only about 8 to 7 touchdown interception ratio, 1,500 yards, 60% completion. His ceiling is obviously 2007. Those numbers are ridiculous. He had like a 140, he had a 137.9 rate. That's insane. 27-2 touchdown interception ratio in 7 games. People thought when Pat Mahomes did was crazy last year. Brady did some stuff. 2,100 yards, 74% completion. That's his ceiling. That is one hell of a ceiling. And his average is somewhere around 98 rate, 14.4 touchdown interception ratio with about 1,900 yards and 65 completion rate. What's interesting is that this year he's slightly below that, but he's not really. He has the 94.8 rate. He has the 11-4 touchdown interception ratio. It's just under 2,000 yards with 66% completion. So it is just amazing to see that this dude, through a 20-year career at 42 plus years old, is still playing not at prime Tom Brady level, but like just a sniff below it. And that's crazy. That is crazy to me, man.
Yeah, it just shows like the dedication that he has. I mean, a lot of guys would have been called it quits by now, but he's just so competitive that he still wants. I believe he still wants to reach that 45 year mark. I'm not sure if he'll do it in New England, but if he goes anywhere else, I have no doubt that he will reach that 45-year mark.
Yeah, let's talk about that. What do you think he's gonna? Do you think this is his last year in New England? Do you think it's possible that we see a Patriots team without number 12 at quarterback?
Personally, I wouldn't want to see it. Seeing him in anything other than a Patriots uniform would make me sick.
It's
but
like Wizards.
But Well, I don't know. It's so weird because he's been there. He's been there for almost 20 years.
Yeah,
So to see him in any other uniform other than the Patriots uniform, it just wouldn't feel natural. And I don't. And I'm pretty sure there's some teams around the league who would take Brady in a heartbeat, but I just don't really see him going to any other. I think he would much rather call it quits
hmm
before he would go to another team. I feel like he want to finish his run here with New England.
yeah, because I I look at this through my eyes, but like my eyes aren't the same as Tom Brady's. But being 40 plus years old, going to a new team, that just doesn't sound like a fun situation to do. Like
Yeah,
starting all over like that. Well, who knows? Tom Brady might like that. Maybe he's bored always being a perennial Super Bowl. Like I think in seasons where Tom Brady has played 12 or more games, you realize he's made the Super Bowl. He's had what 9 plus 8. This is about 17 seasons where he's played a full season, right? A full complement's worth of starts.
right.
He's made the Super Bowl 9 times. He's
Nine
not
times.
made the Super Bowl 8 times. He's more than likely to make this. Is it possible he's maybe bored with his success and wants to see if he can replicate that somewhere else at a later age? Is that part of it?
I wouldn't say he's bored with the success. I think he relishing. I think he relishing it. I would not say he's bored at all.
Mm-hmm.
If he does go somewhere, I mean, like I said, he's a competitor, so he's going to try to make that 45-year mark. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's just such a hard thing to talk about because like anytime they start bringing up Brady leaving or going to another team or just retiring, it's just like, oh, like let's slow down now. Let's just get through this season.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I also thought something that would make me think that I think Tom Brady sees these numbers and he might be trying to get ahead of Bill, and this is probably why this is happening. But I looked down Tom Brady's numbers up through his career and I looked at his quarter splits because I was wondering if his age was showing the longer he played. Now, his fourth quarter numbers are still kind of consistent to what he's always done in his career. Actually, slightly better this year. He's actually more efficient in the fourth quarter. Um, Now he hasn't had to really play a lot of games deep into the fourth quarter that were like competitive this year,
yeah,
but still, it's still Tom Brady. But what I did notice is that throughout his career, Tom Brady is normally statistically a lot better in the second and fourth quarter than he is in the first and third quarter throughout his career, if you look at his numbers. But this year, he is significantly better in the first and third quarter. He has a 10% higher completion rate because in the first and third, he has a 71% completion rate. He's thrown for 1,200 yards, 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 104.5 rate. But in the second and fourth, 61% completion, 787 yards. So a significant drop in those two categories. 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He's still Tom Brady. And 89 rate. So significant drop off there when he doesn't have a break to come off of, when the game's not just starting or when he's not coming out of halftime. There's a little bit of a drop off in play there from what he puts up at the beginning of halves and games. And I think that's something where Tom Brady might be a little bit aware of that number. Bill Belichick, and we know Bill Belichick is
yeah,
not sentimental. He will cut anybody. He cut Bernie Kosar in this city, and like Bernie is the guy in the city still to this day. When Bill Belichick was in Cleveland, he cut him with no remorse. So I wouldn't be shocked if Tom's thinking in the back of his head, Bill's probably seeing some of these numbers because Bill's a number guy. He might be thinking he's going to cut me loose. I'm not going to have my career ended by Bill Belichick because it's a love-hate kind of dynamic between those two. And, he's thinking maybe I'm going to get ahead of Bill. I don't know if he joins another team. It just seems unnatural to me for
yeah.
Tom Brady to play anywhere other than New England. Even though it could make sense. Maybe he could play from San Francisco. He is from that area, right?
Yeah, but I don't see like as far as like the San Francisco thing. They have Jimmy Garoppolo, so they
What
pretty.
if how would you feel if the 49ers said, hey, we want to win a Super Bowl next year. Tom Brady doesn't want to play there. He still has his contract to where he can only void. He doesn't have to opt out completely. What if the 49ers are like, we'll trade you back Jimmy Garoppolo. Send us Tom Brady.
That's interesting you said that because the 49ers, when they originally contacted Belichick, they originally put up like an offer for Tom Brady. That was like they didn't even like go for Jimmy first. They went for Tom first, and he just laughed it off. And it was like, okay, can we have Jimmy? And he's like, all right, fine. It's a second round pick. So I thought that was pretty weird that they would just like knowing that this we want to do a trade. Let's see if we can get Tom Brady first before we go after Jimmy. I was like, okay, 49ers. But
That'd be interesting. I think that'd be a way to have it, and that would be Bill Belichick in a way, because it'd be like, hey, I'll get rid of him, get my guy that I wanted back. Because I think the reports were he didn't want to trade Garoppolo that much. Like, I think Kraft wasn't that the story that Kraft forced them to trade Garoppolo, and that was a whole ordeal.
That's the story. They're never gonna like openly come out and say, all right, this is exactly what went down, because trying to get information out of the Patriots is like trying to break down a brick wall with a toy hammer. It's just not. I mean, it's not really that good of a possibility. But maybe sometime in the future, maybe we'll get some details on that. But right now, I'm not so sure.
It's just an interesting dynamic, because I never thought in my life that Tom Brady would ever be a free agent, and it looks like it's trending towards that way. But I also thought that Peyton Manning would never leave the Indianapolis Colts, and he won a Super Bowl in Denver. So these things can, and I think what Peyton Manning was 40 plus at that time too.
No, he was around his late 30s when he left and went to Denver. But I think one thing that contributed to that was more injuries than just age, because he had like 4 neck surgeries by that time, and they had the new guy Andrew Luck coming in, like their new franchise guy. It was like, we need to get this guy started like as soon as possible. So I wouldn't say it's like the same situation. This is more of a an age type thing with Tom Brady, and Belichick trying to get the new guy up to speed. But yeah, I mean, it'll be. I mean, I don't want it, but it'll be wild if he went to another team, though. It'll be wild. Just pray that it's not the Jets, because then I'll be sick. I wouldn't even watch it.
If Brady went to the Jets, that he would fall off a cliff, because that's just how things go. Okay? They don't get to have nice things in New York. But interestingly enough, I think a bigger question is, if Tom Brady leaves, do you think Bill Belichick is going to stay as the coach? Because faded away their 2 backup plans in the last 2-3 years. I mean, Jacoby Brissett's in Indianapolis playing well.
Yeah.
Jimmy Garoppolo is in San Francisco. He's on the team,
Yeah, he's doing his thing.
I don't know if he's playing well, but he's on the team. They're good. They have a good defense there. He's not messing it up. And now the Patriots are left in a situation where, like, hey, if Tom Brady leaves, like, you're probably not going to have a great draft pick this year, because let's be real, this is probably going to be a team that, at the very least, it's going to make the Super Bowl or the AFC Championship. Let's not get silly about it. And where are they going to find a quarterback to play if Tom Brady's there? And is Bill Belichick gonna be here for the non-quarterback deal? Is he going to coach a team that doesn't have a quarterback? Or is he going to decide, you know what? Had a great run, won this last Super Bowl, Brady's leaving, I'm out too.
I feel he'll still coach, because I feel like there's some things he still wants to get done. And if the narrative is true about the whole love hate with Tom Brady and all that, and like people saying, oh, it's mostly Tom Brady or it's mostly Bill, and he'll probably want to quiet that and say, hey, I can do it without Tom Brady. I can make a Super Bowl with the Patriots without Tom Brady. Maybe that's going through his mind. I'm not sure, but I could see him staying with the Patriots, post Tom Brady, grooming another quarterback to try to run for another Super Bowl again. I mean, hey, it's Bill.
Man, the more we talk about this, the more it feels like an apocalyptic kind of thing. Because it's just a world where Bill Belichick is coaching Brian Hoyer to the Super Bowl, and a world where Tom Brady's wearing like cardinal red or something. Like, it seems like an alternate universe. It seems like one of those like, Mandela effect moments where it's just like, this don't feel right. Even as somebody who has not loved that the Patriots have dominated like they have, it's just like, man, this is this doesn't seem right. It'd be like seeing Steph on like another team or something like that. But I think that's all very interesting fodder, and it's amazing at this point that Brady can be in his mid 40s almost and still have this much buzz around him as a free agent quarterback. And it's not like when Brett Favre was doing this and people were like, well, he might still have juice in the tank. He clearly has a ton of juice in the tank. Yeah. He has 2-3 years left in the tank, honestly, which is insane. But, let's get back to the matchup. Browns versus the Patriots. We kind of got sidetracked there by some of the interesting fodder between the Tom Brady and is he going to leave? Is he going to go? But I am a Browns fan, so my opinion about Baker Mayfield is always going to be skewed towards I think he's going to be the guy because I saw what he did last year and I saw how well he played, and I want to believe that is who he is, and that this year there's a lot going on that he's not in control of that is really affecting his play. But again, I'm biased in that way. You as somebody who has no dog in this fight, what do you think of what's happened with Baker Mayfield? Do you think this is more indicative of who he actually is and last year was more of a fluke? Or do you think that, he's just going through a rough patch in his second year?
I can say it's more of a rough patch. Obviously you're aware of the offensive line situation with the Browns that could play a part. Freddie Kitchens, this is his first year, being a head coach. That could also play a part, with the coaching style. He's had to gone through a lot of coaching styles in the short amount of time that he's been here. So I mean, that can all play a part when you jumping from like head coach to head coach. I mean, that's never easy for your starter quarterback. Mm-hmm. So there could be like a lot of factors. I wouldn't say there's a drop off, or anything, going off, or that the last year was a fluke, because obviously it's there. So yeah, I wouldn't say it's Baker though. I would say it's more of like the forces around him that's probably playing a part in how he's playing.
Interesting, man. Interesting. Yeah, I think part of it's just the schedule. The Browns have been on primetime TV for I think they played only like one game that wasn't on primetime, and that was the game against Baltimore. It's just been a ridiculous schedule. Time changes, and I think also he hasn't been prepared properly. I don't think he has been put in great situations as a quarterback to be able to succeed. I think there is some miscommunication going on with the wide receivers and the coaching staff and himself. And I think hopefully the hope is the Browns get this figured out, and at least after this game, they can start rattling off a bunch of wins. But the Browns still have a lot of bright spots on this team running the ball. Yeah. Still very strong. Nick Chubb looks like one of the better running backs in the NFL. Eventually Odell Beckham's going to be Odell Beckham. I'm a firm believer in that. I don't think he's fallen off a cliff or something. And then defensively, with the corners getting back, they have some potential there. But we talked about the matchups. We talked about Tom Brady's history. We've talked about all of these things. So let's get to what we think is going to happen at 4:25 tonight when the Browns face the Patriots in Foxborough. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think this game is going to go like? And what do you think the score is going to be, man?
I predict more of a closer game than we've seen lately from the Patriots. Looking at all the other Patriots games, excluding the Buffalo one, they've pretty much been beating a lot of these teams by a landslide. But going against a team that has this type of offensive talent with Baker and Beckham and Jarvis and Chubb, just all these pieces around them, I just I don't see this being like just a straight blowout unless something crazy happens, unless it's like just a whole bunch of turnovers. But it's other than that, I can see this being more of more, I wouldn't say like a blow for blow type matchup, but I would see it as more of a closer matchup than I've seen the Patriots playing. So as far as like a score, as far as predicting the score, I would say 30 to 24, 23, maybe something like that. Mm-hmm. I can see the game going in that route.
Mm. Me personally, I said earlier, I think the Browns have a path to victory. I think the margin of error about this thing. I think they're going to come out, and I think they're going to be able to play up to that, right? They're going to be able to run the ball. They're going to be able to slow down Tom for a little bit by getting to him on the line. But the one problem I have predicting a victory for the Cleveland Browns in that way that leads no margin for error is that this team has been full of margins of error for the entire season. So I can't sit here and say, hey, this is going to be the week you play the best team or the second best team. You already played the San Francisco 49ers, the one undefeated team. They smacked you. And then now you're going to play the New England Patriots on the road. Again, there's a potential to get smacked there. I understand why people think that, but it's also, I can't sit here and expect the Browns to play a perfect game and predict them to do that against the New England Patriots when they haven't done that against the New York Jets. So as much as I want the Browns to win, I think they're going to be able to stick to that game plan. I think that's why this game's going to be a lot closer than people think, maybe even more points up than people think. But ultimately, I think there's going to be an interception or something, some kind of turnover that is just going to put this game just out of reach for the Browns and give Tom Brady the advantage, because the Patriots, they kind of just wait for you to make that mistake.
Yeah.
They're good enough to where they can say, hey, we'll just sit back. We'll let you kill on some of these underneath stuffs, but eventually you're going to get greedy. You're going to kind of go over the top. We're going to bait you. Stephen Gilmore is going to get an interception, and that's what I fear happening for the Browns. So that's why I think the Patriots are going to win 35-17 and get this one out on the Browns. I think the Browns are going to put up a respectable fight. I don't get the whole narrative nationally. I get it because you guys destroyed the Jets, but people are acting like that's new. Even when the Jets were good, the Patriots is, I have one of my best friends. He's a Jets fan. And we would always talk about, it's just unfair what the Patriots always do to the freaking Jets. He hates the Patriots. I don't really blame him. But, I think people are overreacting to that. They're overreacting to Sam Darnold seeing ghost things. Like, it's a funny meme or whatever. So, people are hopped up.
I don't think he should have been mic'd up that night. I still don't think he should have been mic'd up that night. Like, it just wasn't the night for him to be mic'd up.
Yeah, like mic up Le'Veon. Like, why? I don't know, because when the Browns played the Jets on Monday night, they mic'd up Trevor Siemian, and it's like, do these people have no idea who's interesting to mic up? Like, you got Le'Veon Bell on the field right next to Trevor Siemian, and you gonna put the mic on Trevor? Trevor Siemian is boring. Sam Darnold is like famously boring. It's like putting a mic on Kawhi Leonard. Why? They should have put it on him. They should have put it on Robbie Anderson. Anybody would have been better or funner than that. Put it. I like it when they put the mic on the defensive player, because those dudes.
Yeah, they always got something to say.
Yeah, they'll say whatever.
Unless it's Stephen Gilmore, then probably don't put the mic on him. But anybody else, like, you can put the mic on like a lot of defensive players. They always talking.
They should have put the mic on Jamie Collins, because what goes through Jamie Collins' mind through a football game is that I have heard stories that Jamie Collins was trying to set up Call of Duty games when he played for the Browns in the middle of football games.
Oh my goodness.
Jamie Collins is a different kind of dude, man. Talented, but sometimes if he's not on a winning team, man, his mind will go wherever he wants it to go.
Yeah.
But I just don't feel confident picking the Browns to win here, but I think this is going to be an entertaining game. This is actually, honestly, when I was doing the pregame stuff for it, the funnest one to look at all the matchups and everything, because there's a lot there that people aren't seeing or people don't want to talk about, because the Browns, I don't think they've earned a in-depth look nationally at this matchup. So there's a lot of things. You guys, some of the key things on the injury report, we're not going to have our starting free safety, Demarius Randall. You're not going to have Matt Lacoste. Shaq Mason seems like he's going to play. He's been limited, but that would be a little bit of a blow there, because he is your starting right guard there. Yeah. But I think Shaq Mason, offensive linemen, if they practice, they generally play. So that seems like that's going to be there for him. But it seems like a good matchup. I'm excited for tonight's game. Hopefully it lives up to my expectations of it. Hopefully the Browns have a chance of it. Do you have any final thoughts before we sign off on this pregame show?
I just want to say I have been looking forward to this matchup since the schedule came out. Like, I would have never thought, if you took me back like 3 years ago and said, hey, you're going to be excited for this Patriots Brown matchup, I'm like, what? But but the way they develop the talent that they have, and just looking at the opposite side, I mean this looks like it's going to be a hell of a game, man. I can't wait.
Definitely. I'm interested to see this. I think the Browns play their best when they're counted out the most. That's when they beat the Baltimore Ravens after they lost that game to the Rams. Everybody counted them out, said they were going to get blown out by the Ravens. This week, everybody is down on the Browns. People are predicting 60-point victories, but I just think if you had beat the Jets by 60 points, like, come on now. Like,
yeah, that's a little much.
That's a little disrespectful, but I feel like the Browns play their best when people are disrespect them, and I also feel like I'm worried because if the Browns win this game, the hype's going to be back on, and I don't know if that's a good thing for the Cleveland Browns to have the hype back on. But it's going to be interesting and an interesting game, man. All my subscribers, all of you guys, thank him for coming on. This was great. He is a Patriots fan, but he also talks about NFL football. He's also just a good person to listen to. So whether you're a Browns fan, if you're one of the Patriots fan who came here to troll in my comment section, make sure you troll your way onto his YouTube page and subscribe to his channel. Subscribe to him. He puts out great stuff. I was lucky enough to find him, bring him on, and hopefully, the Browns make the playoffs and I play the Patriots. I can bring them back on again. So Good Game Reviews. Shout out all of your social media. Shout out everything that you want people to follow. So they can hop on over there.
Yeah, like you said, check out the Good Game Reviews channel. You can get at the channel's Twitter page, Good Game Reviews 3. Yeah, just follow me on there, all that good stuff. Yeah.
All right, man. Thank you for coming on. Interesting conversation that we've had. Interesting pregame show. Best pregame show on the internet. I'm going to say it right here for the Browns and Patriots. So Browns, Patriots fans, click this button, watch this video, share it to everybody you know. Let people know how great this stuff is so we can continue to keep doing it because we love doing it. But thank you guys for coming in. Thank you guys for showing up. And again, thank you, Good Game Reviews, and all the Patriots fans who came, and all of the Browns fans, and all just the NFL fans who watch this channel who came to watch this, because it is an interesting matchup. And we'll see and we'll talk after the 425 game tomorrow on the post-game show on my channel. And thank you guys for coming. Have a great day. Have a good night. And all that fun stuff.
All right. Appreciate you having me, man.
Yeah, no problem, man.